What's going on? This is Big G from G Rides and welcome to another episode of Testing Rides. Today, I'm going to be testing out the 2020 Dodge Durango SRT. Welcome to the 2020 Dodge Durango SRT. The SRT Durango was introduced for the 2018 model year, just mainly because FCA has been making the SRT Grand Cherokee, and this is basically the same platform as the Grand Cherokee, so it just made sense for them to go ahead and make a full SRT version with the 6.4 liter engine. So as of today, it is July the 5th. Dodge has released an update to the 2021 Durango a couple days ago that added a Hellcat and added an update on the new Dodge Durango, which I feel like it was really needed. I mean, this body style came out in 2015 and this 5 years later and they're still basically running it. So it's nice to see a update coming very shortly. So this is the 2020 Dodge Durango SRT. And all Dodge Durango SRTs come standard with a 6.4 liter, making 475 horsepower, 470 foot-pounds of torque. Because this is a big, heavy muscle SUV, this thing weighs about 5,500 pounds, which is quite a bit. That's about as much as an Expedition or like a Tahoe weighs, which is kind of crazy. But this engine is pretty heavy. It's pretty big. So with 475 horsepower at 5,500 pounds, this vehicle gets about 13 in the city and 19 on the highway, which it's really terrible. It's very bad. But with the 6.4 liter engine and nearly 500 horsepower, who gives a fuck about gas mileage? So the 2020 Dodge Durango SRT has a base price of about $63,000, but this one has a couple options on it. So this one first of all, has the adaptive cruise control safety package with all that stuff, which is weird because it doesn't come with blind spot monitoring, which is really odd. How can you have adaptive cruise control no blind spot monitoring? I think that's just weird. It also comes with the upgraded red and black leather interior, and also comes with the sunroof, which is a must for me. I love having the sunroof. And with all three of those options, this vehicle is about $69,000, just a tick over $70,000. And I think honestly, that is actually not a bad price, considering that this is a nearly 500 horsepower, 4.4 0 to 60 time, big family SUV, and it sounds nice. It looks nice. I think $70,000 is pretty good. But since this car's been out since 2018, you can get a 2018 used model for about $50,000. Yes, that's pretty bad just in the first couple years of depreciation, but you know, it's a Dodge product, so sometimes they depreciate, unfortunately, but they're still super dope. All right, let's go ahead and take a look around the outside and the interior of the vehicle and head out on the road. Welcome to the walk around of the 2020 Dodge Durango SRT. So let's go ahead and start in the front here. So the one thing I noticed about the Dodge Durango SRT, it looks super mean and aggressive from the front. But honestly, for the rest of the Dodge Durango, it looks like a regular Durango. And I think that's really kind of nice that this SUV with this amount of power and everything is pretty subdued. I think that cars like this don't need to be really loud and out there, because it looks honestly like a regular Durango. Like if you change that front grille, it'll look like a GT or an RT Durango. So I think that's pretty awesome. Coming over to the side, it has the big red 392 on the side with the upgraded SRT wheels and those giant brakes, the giant Brembo brakes, which work really well. Let's get a little closer up on those. Yeah, they work pretty good. They look pretty awesome too. So the Dodge Durango comes with these 20-inch wheels, which honestly look like the perfect. Honestly, I know people like to put bigger wheels on vehicles, but I think this looks like this is a perfect size, perfect looking size for this vehicle, because they're big enough, but they also provide some pretty good ride comfort with having a little bit more sidewall there, which is pretty nice. Coming out to the back, this is where with the Dodge Durango, it just looks like a regular Durango from the back. Like if you debadge the SRT off the vehicle, it'll look just like a standard Durango. Like maybe the only giveaway is the little bit bigger exhaust pipes, but that's about it. It still looks just like a regular standard Dodge Durango. So let's go ahead and take a look at the interior real quick as we are here. Like I'm not going to do too much detail on this one because this vehicle has been out for a while. But when the new one comes out, when I get my hands on the new one, I definitely will do that one a little bit more detail. So this one does have the upgraded red leather interior. I think that looks pretty awesome. And then, you know, I love the bigger SRT paddle shifters, and it has, you know, the standard Dodge Durango interior that you've grown to know and love over the last 5 or 6 years or so. Red push button start, SRT, and then it has a different tachometer, which is really weird because the tachometer is really interesting because I know the Charger and the Challenger has manual, has not manual, but it has analog for the tachometer and speedometer, and this one has a digital tachometer and it lags, which is kind of funny. I mean, this engine revs up pretty quickly for something this big, and it just can't keep up. Well, I think it's hilarious. So hopefully they fix that with the next generation SRT Durango. So let's go ahead and take it out on the road to see how it drives, because that's the more important part with the SRT Durango. Welcome to the driving portion of the 2020 Dodge Durango SRT. So let's go ahead and get out on the road and see how this thing drives. All right. Go and put it in custom mode because some of the other modes are a little too stiff. So first thing when you hop out on the hop out here in the SRT Durango is first thing I notice is this thing sounds so good. Like it sounds just like the SRT, not the Grand. It sounds just like the SRT like Charger and Challengers, and I think that's amazing that a sound like that is coming out of an SUV like this. I think that's pretty awesome. So this has the 6.4 liter SRT motor, which is one of my favorite motors that FCA makes because it's like the good in-between motor. So like if you want, you know, the V8 and you want some good power, this is the one that you need to get. Like the RT motor is just the same motor that they, like, you know, it's decent horsepower and torque and everything, but it's designed as a truck motor, where this is more designed as kind of a more racier engine. So it upshifts, downshifts a lot quicker than like the truck motor. As you heard, those downshifts are ridiculous. So when you go ahead and hammer it, it gets going pretty good. Like this thing is decently quick, like, you know, almost nearly 500 horsepower. This is pretty good. And like, as you can see, those downshifts are quick. Downshift. So I just want to drive for a second and show you guys some of the responsiveness of this vehicle. You guys hear that? Oh my goodness. I can't believe like Dodge made an SUV that sounds like this with 7 seats. Like, yes, this one has the cactus chair option, but you typically can get one of these with 7 seats, and it sounds like a Challenger or Charger. One thing I've noticed about this vehicle, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of driving like an asshole. I mean, when you hear that, how can you not? But the one thing about this SRT Durango, it's super kind of low key actually, because it looks just like any old Durango, except it has nearly 500 horsepower. So, you know, like whenever like I kind of, you know, sometimes with cars like this, I like to hammer it just around people just to see the response. And a lot of people don't even look at this when it goes by, but then when they look, they're like, oh wow, that just made that sound. And that's why I like this vehicle so much, because unlike a Charger or a Challenger, this thing is super low key. It looks just like any old Durango on the road, and you'll never know kind of that it accelerates like this. It accelerates like that with, you know, having that much horsepower. Like it looks just like a normal ass Durango, and that's what I love about it. You know, so I have it in custom mode. So I have the transmission and steering in track. I have the transmission suspension in track. I have the suspension in street, because in sport or track mode suspension on this thing, it is too stiff, like way too stiff. Like I tried it for a little bit and it was just bouncing me around the vehicle. Like now it's even bouncing me around the vehicle and it's just in sport mode. But you definitely want to hit that sweet spot for do track suspension, track steering, and then regular street suspension, because you know, that's the one thing with these type of SUVs that sometimes is annoying, is sometimes the manufacturers they make them a little bit too stiff. I mean, this is a 7-seater family SUV. There's no reason why this thing needs to be extremely stiff. Like you're not really going to be hitting track days in this 5,500 pound SUV. I mean, all this thing is going to do is just it's just fun. Like it puts a huge smile on your face. And that's really all this vehicle is for. Like, it puts a huge smile on your face. So at $70,000, honestly, I think that this vehicle is not that bad of a price proposition, because you're getting all-wheel drive, you're getting 7 seats, you're getting nearly 500 horsepower, you're getting a vehicle that sounds amazing, it looks amazing, and honestly, the interior is actually not too bad built. Like earlier in the week, I just reviewed the 2024 Explorer, and even though this interior is a bit dated now, like they've been doing this interior for like years and years at this point, the interior still looks pretty good for, you know, for how old this interior is. So I think Dodge did an excellent job with building this car. Like, I think that it looks really nice still. Like, even though some of the gauges are starting to get a little bit pixelated at this point, and and I think that, I mean, that's kind of starting to show its age, but for the most part, it doesn't feel as old as it actually is. And like, you know, with this SRT model of the Durango, it it just makes you kind of want to look into one again. So this Durango has been out since 2018, like I said before, and because it's been out since 2018, even though this is a new vehicle, this is $70,000, you can go pick up a used one for $50,000 all day long. And I think that, yes, the new one is pretty dope, but you should take a look at the used one, because at $50,000, you know, when between like mid 40s to low 50s, I think that's a really good deal for something like this. Just the sound, the way it drives, the way it handles, the way it looks, like, you know, it handles like a 5,500 pound SUV, but you know, it's to be expected. I mean, this vehicle is not very light, so you can't expect this thing to handle like a lighter SUV or something like that. Like if Dodge can cut, like, for the next generation entirely, if Dodge can cut like maybe 700, 800 pounds out of this thing some way, this will be a monster. Like, you wouldn't really need the Hellcat version of this thing to get this thing moving pretty good. So I think that this Dodge Durango is an excellent vehicle. Like, I've loved this generation of Dodge Durango. It looks so mean, so aggressive. It sounds nice, it looks nice, it's extremely comfortable. You guys know I'm over 6 feet tall and over 350 pounds, and I am extremely comfortable in this vehicle. This is probably one of the most comfortable vehicles this size that is on sale for if you are not the smallest human in the world. Like, a lot of SUVs I'm noticing, especially this size, like X-nay out the fact that this is a performance version of this vehicle. A lot of the vehicles are built for people that are a lot shorter than I am, so whenever I get in, I feel like I'm sitting a little bit too high, like a little bit too close to the roof, to where like I feel like I'm hitting my head on the sunroof or something like that. And this one, I have plenty of space with the sunroof. Even if it didn't have a sunroof, it'd have plenty of headroom. So I think that the Dodge Durango is one of the more comfortable of the SUVs this size. The back seats, they need to improve upon a bit. I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I got the seat back and I can't really sit behind myself. Like, I can make it, I'll be able to make it, but it wouldn't be enjoyable at all. So that's my only thing. That's my only gripe with the Dodge Durango. But for the most part, the Dodge Durango is an excellent SUV, and you definitely should consider getting the SRT model if you don't really care about getting the best fuel economy ever. If you care about having fun, this is definitely the SUV for you. Like, say for instance, you wanted a Charger SRT or Challenger SRT, but you got a couple kids, so you have to think about that thing. This vehicle is the vehicle for you. Don't even look at anything else. Look straight at this. I know Ford makes the ST Explorer. I haven't driven one, mind you, but just based on how I feel about just based on how I felt about this one, just driving it around, honestly, I don't know if it compares. So when I get a chance to get my hands on one of the ST Explorers, I can let you know if it compares at all. But for the most part, this SRT Durango is it in terms of the performance SUV, for the American performance SUV, or just the performance SUV in general, under $100,000, because I know when you hit that $100,000 mark, is you start hitting a lot of the German competitors, and you know, those SUVs are completely different monsters. Like, you know, the GLS, the AMG GLS has like 600 or something horsepower. It's like comparable to like the Hellcat Durango. So at this point, I do want to talk about the facelift Durango a little bit, because the Durango had a facelift a couple days, like got announced the facelift a couple days ago, and it looks amazing. Like, it made everything that I felt was getting old, it made it look modern. Like, now it has kind of this Charger style dashboard, and then like the more modern headlights, and I think it's something they should have did like maybe 3 years ago, because at this point, 2021, we should be seeing a new generation Durango, not just a facelift. But sometimes Dodge takes a long time to update their vehicles, which, I mean, it's fine, but it would be nice if they would have went ahead and redesigned instead of facelift on that one. But you know, it's not that bad. I think it looks pretty awesome. I think it's still going to be an awesome SUV, and you know, I can't wait to see it and drive it and all that good stuff. The last thing, one thing that I really want Dodge to kind of focus on with the Durango is, I understand that they want to keep this vehicle at a certain price point, but I think they need to stop Cayman versus 911 the Durango. So the Jeep Grand Cherokee is the 5-seater version of this. I know the Jeep Grand Cherokee is more as a luxury model, but you can get stuff like air suspension and multiple different engine options on it, including the diesel for a long time. And I feel like Dodge is holding this Durango back from being even better, because I feel like an air suspension would do wonders for a vehicle like this. And I think they should build like maybe an off-roady one too, like maybe like a Durango Rebel or something like that. I think that would be pretty dope. But I think that just because, you know, people want the more rugged type of SUVs now, this is kind of the sportiest of the family SUVs, but people still want the rugged ones too. And I feel like Dodge, like FCA, has the platforms to build both on the same, like in the same space. So I think that Dodge should stop holding the Durango back and give it all kind of the options that you can kind of get with the Grand Cherokee. But that's my only gripe with the Durango. I love the Durango. The Durango is one of my favorite of SUVs this size. It looks awesome. It drives awesome. It sounds awesome. It's like a muscle SUV. It's pretty dope. But for the most part, it's just the Dodge Durango is just a super dope SUV. And so if you're looking for a fun to drive, great sounding, great driving, you know, just overall pretty awesome, like muscly, like pretty sporty muscle SUV, definitely take a look at the 2020 Dodge Durango. Just definitely take a look at a Dodge Durango SRT if you're into that type of performance. So if you like this video, hit me with the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, keep riding me. Thanks for watching.